And before we get started and before I introduce her, I'm going to ask them to play a clip from Dr. excuse me, Dr. Tiffany, who couldn't be here tonight, but she recommended Glenda be here tonight. So we'll play the clip and then we'll get right into the session.
Literally, I am. It takes too much work. Making some lifestyle changes, you can actually come off of some of those medications and improve your metabolic health. So if you're one of the lucky people that's been given this video, somebody cares about you and wants you to know more about your metabolic health and the natural products that we're using to help thousands of people. Listen in. And what are these conditions that are plaguing us? These are conditions of poor metabolic health. Look at what we see here on this slide. Low HDL cholesterol, high triglycerides, hypertension, visceral obesity. Yeah, those things affect our metabolic health. And yes, it is a global concern. It's affecting all nations, all people, regardless of socioeconomic status or race. But the good thing is, this can be reversed naturally. The whole point of the reason why you got this video is you're probably somewhere on this chart, or you at least know someone who has some of these conditions. Diabetes, chronic kidney disease, chronic lung disease, stroke, high triglycerides, high cholesterol. The list goes on and on. But the big thing, the big disease that's becoming a huge epidemic is diabetes. And unfortunately, 1 out of 10 people have this condition. And 1 out of 4 don't even know that they have it. And then prediabetes, which comes before diabetes, is very prevalent. 9 out of 10 people don't even know they have diabetes, and 1 out of 3 adults already have it. And let's not talk about heart disease, because if you're in the US, this is the #1 killer, the #1 killer of Americans, and it's high on the list everywhere else. Do you see that number? It's staggering. Let's look at the global health crisis, okay? Looking at this graph, it's looking at 2015, and then it's estimating out where things are going to be in 2040. And if you look, there doesn't appear to be a place that is not dealing with this awful epidemic. It has definitely become a global health crisis. So what do all these issues have in common? Stroke, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, high blood pressure, erectile dysfunction, Alzheimer's disease, arthritis, skin tags, that dark patch on your neck. No, that's not dirt. No. Polycystic ovarian syndrome, the leading cause of infertility amongst women. Fatty liver disease. So many people are walking around with this and don't even know how they got it or why. Obesity, specifically that weight around the middle, that visceral fat. That's the fat that increases our risk for heart disease, the #1 killer. What's in the middle of that? Insulin resistance. But what is insulin resistance, right? Most of us understand what insulin is because, we've had a family member who's had diabetes and had to give themselves insulin, right? Insulin is a natural hormone that we all have. And insulin's job is to deliver energy to the cells. And then it also stores excess glucose as fat. It regulates our blood sugar. And what is insulin resistance? It's a condition in which the cells of the body don't respond well to insulin. And so look at this graph here. This is a great example. So if you are someone who is eating a high carbohydrate rich meal, this fast food meal here, with the burger, the fries, and the soda, all high in sugars, glucose, carbohydrates, it's going to shoot that blood sugar level up pretty high. That's the blue line there, right? And then what your pancreas has to do to bring this glucose into the cells is it has to release insulin. And that's what it's doing here with this yellow line. But because it's trying to combat this high glucose, it overshoots, so to speak. And the fact that insulin hangs around in the bloodstream much longer than that glucose took to come down, you're having way too much insulin bathed in the cells. That's when those cells develop insulin resistance. And then because you shot so much insulin into your bloodstream, that glucose came down so quickly. So much so that it triggers hunger and also triggers the itis. That sensation of feeling like you're exhausted or have to go to sleep after you've had a carb-heavy meal. Yeah, it's because your sugars have dropped too low because they were too high and you have too much insulin. So why does this happen? What is driving this crisis? Well, I'm going to tell you, big food. And yeah, I know food isn't a word, but I'm going to say it anyway. These companies make these things that are packaged, boxed, barcoded, processed. And they are not helping us. They drive up our sugars. They drive up our desire to want to eat them. They've become addictive. They took out the fiber so it'd be easier to overeat on them. The chips, the crackers, the cookies. It's the truth. And so we have the modern food environment, right? And what happens is you start eating all that food, your sugars go up, your blood pressure goes up, and where you go? You go to the doctor. And the doctor, who's trained like I am, we have an algorithm. If your blood pressure is here, if your sugar is here, if your cholesterol is here, there's a particular drug you need to take. Yeah, and that's how we get Big Pharma involved. And unfortunately, Big Pharma seems to be investing in some of that modern day food environment, big food. And you know what's horrible about this is that we're sitting in the middle, aging prematurely, with low energy, difficulty to lose weight, and constantly feeling hungry. So look, there's 5 things you can do immediately. Yes, you do not have to stand by and let this happen. 1, try to eat a low carbohydrate diet, low glycemic index diet, and you can go to University of Sydney's website in Australia and see, because they're the ones that actually coined that phrase, glycemic index, and see where your foods fall on that. Try to get your lower glycemic index foods, your lower carb foods. And then the other part of this, don't eat that bar-coded, bagged, or boxed food, that processed food. That is nobody's friend. And then exercising, resistance training is huge in trying to get that glucose back into the cells. And then high fiber. High fiber, yes, we have plenty of data and studies on how increasing your fiber can compete with a statin medication, how increasing your fiber can improve your sugars, your cholesterol. And it's not just what you eat, but when you eat. So time-based eating. Yeah, I'd like to say intermittent eating. That's a better way to look at that, right? But taking a break from eating allows your body not to release insulin, so that way you have time to bring those insulin levels down. Well, what if I told you that the Feel Great system makes this easier? Because it does. You have your Unimante, and it helps with the energy, so that way you can do your weight training. It helps with your carb and food cravings, turns off the food noise, acts very similar to those GLP-1s. And when I say that, I'm talking about Ozempic, Wegovy. It naturally boosts your GLP-1 agonist, that hormone we all have. Allows you to feel full and tell your brain you're not hungry anymore. Yeah, it helps with that. So it helps you to be able to fast also. And then your balance, which is a 7-strand fiber blend, which covers the food, decreasing the carbohydrates, decreasing the glucose, so it doesn't get absorbed. Huge. And it adds back that fiber that we're missing thanks to Big Fuda. And it slows down your digestion, but also provides you with 9 essential vitamins and minerals. So how do you do the system? So you wake up in the morning and you drink the Unimante. You start sipping on it for 3 to 4 hours. And most of us skip breakfast, but you got to start where you are. If skipping breakfast sounds too daunting of a task, then just don't snack after dinner or in between meals. That'll give you at least 12 hours fasting if you include your sleep time. So you go ahead and you have lunch, and then you mix another one of these to drink and sip on for 3 to 4 more hours. It's a slow drip of that Unimante, that Yerba Mate patented blend. And then with your largest meal, if that's lunch or dinner, that's when you're going to do the 7-strand patented fiber blend. The balance, you're going to do it with your largest meal or your carb-heavy meal. And you're going to mix it up real quickly in 6 to 8 ounces of water and chug that back when you're having your meal, like right before. Very simple. Less than $6 a day. That's all it costs. And if you actually stop snacking or skip breakfast like we recommend, do intermittent fasting, and if you get rid of that high-priced coffee drink you're doing every day, you know what I'm talking about, you'll find that this actually is cost neutral. And now for the measurable results. Get back with the person who sent this video and give it 90 days. Yes, we can't fix a metabolic health condition overnight. It's going to take some time and some adjustment. But you know what? I can't wait to hear about your great results.
Okay, excuse me. Okay, now I'm going to introduce our guests for tonight, Dr. Tiffany and our mutual friends, Johnny and Beverly, recommended come speak to you and share her story. Miss Glenda Burwell, I'm going to allow you to speak, and then we'll ask some questions.
Good evening, everyone. How y'all doing tonight? Good. I came, like she said, we're gonna have a conversation in a little bit, but I just want to clue you in about where I am now, where I came from. Okay. So, I was diagnosed with diabetes at the age of 16. It was earth-shattering to me because I am a foodie. I thought my life was over watching my dad, who was type 2 diabetic, watching the things that he had to eat back then I was just like, kill me now, okay? Because I didn't think I was ever gonna be able to eat or enjoy food. And so, as you can imagine, immaturity played a large part. I started off really good and strong. I was at boarding school, and my mother was a nurse, and she told me, you do this, this, and that, and she sent snacks. She set me up for success. And I stuck to the rules because I'm a rule follower. I keep the law. And then I came here for college. And while I was here in college, I met someone who I worked with that I appreciated and respected. And I was young, he was older, and he said, "Oh, you don't have to do that." He looked healthy to me. "Oh, you can eat what you want to eat." I wasn't on insulin at the time. "Oh, you can do that. Yeah, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it." And I looked and I was like, well, my mom always was strict. Maybe I can sneak a little this here and there. Well, that advice started to change the trajectory of my health and my health journey. That man that gave me that wonderful advice is now 6 feet under. He died in his 40s, but of course I couldn't see that. I couldn't see the future. I just saw that he looked well, and looked like he knew he was talking about, and he was, a little older. And so, yeah, that wasn't the case. So that played a big role. I ate what I wanted. I didn't take my medicine. And before you knew it, I was a mother and my health was down the tubes. And I just thought, well, I'm over 40. This is what happens, right? When you're over 40, everything goes downhill. That's what they tell us. It wasn't true. I woke up one morning and it was as if someone took a Sharpie across my eye. I knew immediately what it was. I'd heard the stories. Oh, when you're diabetic, you don't take care of yourself. You are going to lose your toes. You're going to go blind. You all have heard him, right? Okay. I was like, well, it's my turn. Thought I was going to be older when this happened, but here it is. And someone encouraged me to go to the doctor, and I did. And that day they did laser surgery on one of my eyes. My eyes were bleeding, y'all. When I tell you I thank God for second chances and third and fourth and fifth chances, I really do. So I took my health a little more seriously and began to make some changes because I got a second chance. With that second chance, I was introduced to something that would allow me to get a lot of fruits and vegetables into my system. And I began to take that regimen. That did well. My blood sugars did well. They started coming down. After that surgery, I bet you I never forgot to take my insulin again. I bet you I was taking that insulin because I had seen what it could do to me. So I got a second chance. Here we are. We're going to fix it. Well, from there, I did this thing where I took the bunches of fruits. It was like 30 fruits and vegetables in every day I was taking it. I still do, actually. And I began to see my health change. So that was one large step for me. One large step. With that came different things that improved my health journey as a whole. The next thing that happened is my church did a corporate fast like many of us do at the beginning of the year, the Daniel fast. And when our pastor introduced it, I thought to myself, doesn't matter what I'm praying for. I'm going to be dead in 3 weeks without chicken and cheese. We had to go 3 weeks. What am I praying for? Because I'm still a foodie, y'all. Can't you tell? I'm still a foodie. But, somewhere in the journey, I was like, this ain't bad. I can do this. And then the energy and the other things, I started seeing more health improvement. So along life's journey, when you're presented with an opportunity, take advantage of it. Some may not be for you, to be honest. But what if it is? What if it's one of your answers and you just push it to the side? I have committed myself to when I learn about something, I do it. I just see if it works for me. There have been things I've tried that didn't work for me. Those things are not part of my current situation. But I'm going to tell you, if I find something that's going to help me, I'm going to do it. And so that was another step. I became plant-based. My insulin, my body's need for insulin just kept decreasing. And here we are. I meet Dr. Tiffany. And she introduces me to that Feel Great system. And it hasn't been long, but I have been able to see good results, even though I was already on a good, trajectory of better health. So that's my story. I don't know what is on you or on your mind or on your heart or even that of your loved ones. But when it comes to health, The truth of the matter is, Black lives matter until we talk about our health. It matters when somebody else is shooting our people. But when it comes to our health, all of a sudden, Black lives don't matter anymore. Well, I'm tired. Our lives matter. Your life matters, your children's life, the next generations who are learning how to prepare foods from you, who are learning the same habits of stress from you. It matters. They're generational curses that we can break. We don't have to be subjected to. And before I really start to get in, I'm going to be quiet.
No. I wanted you to finish your story. I wanted you to talk to us about how mental health played a part in your health and wellness journey.
Now that is, I feel like it's a cycle. Because you remember when I told you that when they diagnosed me at age 16 with diabetes, the world is over with, you know. It saddened me to think of the things that I would be missing out on. My friends were normal. How come I can't be normal? What do we do when we're stressed out, y'all? And then in eating the things that we should not eat, how does that play a part in your mental status? It's one big old cycle. It doesn't matter if it's like a byproduct of, meaning, well, I don't feel good about myself because I know what I'm doing to my body, or I don't feel good about myself because I know what I'm doing to my children, but it's the quickest thing I can get right now, or I don't feel good about myself because I don't like the way I look or feel. It all plays a part into your psyche. The world wants us to think it doesn't matter, and then the church wants us to think it doesn't matter because Jesus is ruler over all. But we have a responsibility, right? If Satan can't make you do it, then Jesus can't make you do it either. He gave us the power of choice and the power of will to make good decisions, right? And so I do believe there is a very strong connection and cycle, including mental health and your physical health, and how they play off of each other. We got to be careful. They go back and forth and back and forth. But you got to grab somebody by the horns at one point in time. And once you do that, you can grab the other two. It goes hand in hand.
Okay. And there is a scripture in 3 John chapter 1, verse 2, where John was writing to his friend Gaius. He told him, I wish above all things that you prosper and be in good health. When I studied Gaius a little bit, he was a man of integrity, great hospitality, followed God, and was constantly doing things for others. But yet, John wrote to him, and he mentioned in it, Beloved, I wish above all things that you prosper and be in good health, even as your soul prospers. So Gaius was a man of God, man of integrity, man of great hospitality, always helping others. But John reminded him that he also wanted him to be in good health. So I know we as Christians, you know, we come to church and we do the things that God has asked us to do, of great hospitality, always helping others. I wouldn't consider myself a people pleaser, but I had to learn how to say no when it started to affect my mental health as well as my physical health. So talk to us a little bit about that.
Ooh, that word no. Somebody said no is a whole sentence. No is not a dirty word, and it does not have 4 letters. Sometimes we find value in being there or being dependable for someone else, whether it's our children, our spouses, our parents. And not that these people are not important. Those are our treasures, our heart's treasures. And we are to take care of them. But I do not believe God called us to lay our own lives down. He's done that already. Lay our own lives down for the sake of someone else. You know, there was a quote I saw on the infamous Facebook that put it like this. If you're a giver, make sure you have boundaries, because takers don't have any. You teach people how to treat you. And if someone is not treating you right consistently, it's time for you to look at yourself and say, how did I tell them that that was okay? Now, what do I need to do differently? So taking care of yourself is what God asks us to do. Did he not call this his temple? Now, why on earth would you go to your neighbor's house and make sure it was decked out and leave yours in shambles? Why would you do that? But y'all, people do it. We do it each and every day. That's not what and it doesn't make you a super Christian if you do. That's a lie. And Paul had to remind him because it's so easy to get caught up. Why? I feel like it brings back to mental health because we get accolades. You know, when we cook something good for somebody and they like, oh, this is so good. When you fix a floral arrangement and give it to somebody, oh, this is beautiful. I don't know where else to get this. The validation that we seek and receive from other people, it feels good. It sets off dopamine in our minds. But in everything, you have to be temperate. So the Bible didn't talk about not helping your neighbor, right? It said the opposite. Love your neighbor as yourself. But in no way, shape, or form are you supposed to give up on what God has entrusted to you, this body. You can get a heart transplant if you need it. It's what I'm saying. It's available in this day and age of medical miracles. You know, you can have prosthetics. You know, but as far as a brain and a nervous system, you only get one. I always say if our nervous systems were on the outside of our body and people could see them, we'd take a whole lot better care of them. But it's on the inside. It's responsible for telling my hand to wave to you, my tongue to form to speak to you. The brain in here has to get to those things, and that's done through my nervous system. And so we got to take care of the inside so that it can reflect on the outside. The point is to start somewhere.
Okay. And I'm going to open up the floor to see if there's any questions for Ms. Glenda. Is there any questions?
Okay, well, let me ask you a question. On your journey of health, whether you were seeking to do something better, not seeking at all, looking at something and say, hey, that may be something I'd like to do, but life is life and I can't. What has been the hardest part of your health journey, whether it was an unexpected diagnosis, if it was a failed attempt to try to do something? What are some of the things that you struggle with? Just holler them out. Mm-hmm. Yes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. And I think discipline is kind of roped into that, isn't it? Or do you have something else? Okay. Well, what I was going to, I'm just going to share with you what helped me. And my journey isn't over, y'all. I've got more to do. For me, I'm not easily motivated from the inside out. So for me, it took that crash and burn, waking up and not being able to. Y'all, I couldn't drive for 9 months. And my mom was dying at the time. Like, me and God had it out. I couldn't go see. I had to wait on someone to carry me to go see my mom. You know, it was hard, but it took that kind of stuff to get me. So I pray nobody else has to go through that, you know. But what I have learned to do, because life is life, there is no question about it. You can only control the one of you. What I have learned is if I try to prepare ahead of time, it reduces the chances of something getting in the way. So not that it's not going to happen. And so if I if I trip up, it's easier for me to get back on. For me, that's meal prep. If I don't, as a plant-based person who does not buy the veggie meat out of the store, oh my God, there is no going home and whipping up a meal unless it's a salad or something, you know, but I don't like salad all the time. Or if I basically have salad or soup for lunch. So when I come home, I want my dinner. That ain't gonna happen in no hour. I cook. And so I've got to do that on the weekends and separate my stuff. I got 3 or 4 meals. I don't mind leftovers as long as they're good. And I try to make that happen. Like, you're right. My struggle was the same thing at night, especially when my kids were small. Oh, man, exercising at night after a hard day's work. So what did I do? I get up in the morning. Just had to do it. Listen to the Bible and get it in. So try to find solutions that are doable and long-term, because if I said to many people, I'm not going to say you, but many people, if I were to say, if you get up and exercise every day, no matter what time, just at least once a day, and at the end of a year, I'll give you $5 million. How many know they'd be up somehow, some way exercising? But you're worth more than $5 million. Did you all ever see that Ty Tribbett did an example that was golden to me? How many of y'all, I might be aging myself. You remember $500 bills? You remember them? What if I gave you one? They're not in circulation anymore. If I gave you one, would you take it? Come on, answer me. Oh, okay. Well, what if I crumpled it up and threw it on the ground? Would you take it? Oh, okay. But I bet you wouldn't take it if I ripped it up, would you? Oh. Okay. What if I just threw it in the mud in the sewer? Would you? Why? Because it still has value. Y'all, it doesn't matter what you've been through. It doesn't matter how you've been treated. It doesn't matter how you are a 9 out of 10, because God don't know how to make nothing else. You have value. Your life is worth it. You have to see you. You can look at a situation and be like, I don't have to deal with that. I'm a 9. Okay? I'm a 9. Somebody come out you at the side of your neck, they don't treat 9s like that. They must not be talking to me. Because you're worth it. God thinks you're worth it. The world has told us something different, and we talk a lot of this. I'm a queen, I'm a king. We talk it, but we don't act like it. We don't pour into ourselves like it. We get caught up on the surface things. The amount of money, I hear people all the time, I don't have the money, but your hair is done and your nails done. That's not cheap. And we're not even paying our own to do it, but that's another subject for another day. We are worth it, but it's time for us to change what's priority. We love looking like we're worth it, but we don't like acting like it. We have to act like it, and it shows. I'm sorry. What's this question? I can't.
You're talking about the system she talked about at the end, the Unimati and balance. That was one of the tools that you can actually get it from her, or they actually have a site. Okay, we'll definitely share that information as well. And Dr. Tiffany is available she does free consults. She'll look at, your numbers, work with your doctor. She stopped practicing, I guess what she called just regular medicine. She still has her degree, but she is more of a holistic doctor, but she still works hand in hand with the doctors. So she wanted that to be known. Yes, yes. So I'll give you her website. And you can go on. Like I said, she'll do a free consult, sit down with you, and look at your medicine that you're currently taking. Work with your doctor. Okay. Any more questions for Ms. Glendon? I think we're right at 7 o'clock, and we want to thank you for coming. Thank you for sharing your story. She shared it with me earlier, and I was very appreciative that she volunteered to come in Dr. Tiffany's stead. Thank you.
Nice to meet you guys. Happy health, okay?